I have this crazy conspiracy about football. Um, all these kids. Okay, so if you look at the NFL, it's predominantly African Americans, predominantly black, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have this crazy conspiracy about it. It may ruffle feathers or not. Could care less because if you think about it, it's really true. From the age in most communities, if you listen to we're not going to go to the younger community yet or the black community. What we're going to do is look at the NFL community, predominantly black. They have money, they have fame, they have women. There's a lot there to strive for, to have purpose for. Mm-hmm. A lot of their stories are we were broke, poor, we didn't have anything, and that's where I came from. I was able to pay my mom's debt off, all their stuff off, right? It's the way out, right? You think it's the way out of where you're at, of poverty for your family. So what do? They throw them into sports at a young age, at a very young age. But think about it, from little league, I'm talking like you can start as young as 6, 7 years old playing football.
Okay.
The repetition of hitting the head over and over and over again from the 6-year-old to the adolescent age until they're in college. Think about that. You got kids who go to high school and the brain's in a development mode, yet you got them in football and they're hitting their heads harder and harder and harder. I heard there was this one guy that a friend of a friend was telling him that in intermediate school, you would probably they got 4 downs in football, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe 1 out of every 4 downs that they played would hurt pretty good, like smashed. Like they were like, dang, that was actually, it would be every now and then, right? Yeah. When they got into high school, it was 2 out of 4 downs that would hurt their head, or like they would feel it real hard in their body. When they got to college, he said 3 out of 4 downs, each, like the hits hurt, like each bash was hurting like really hard. The guy said when he got into the NFL, because he played NFL ball, he said when I got to the NFL, every single down hurt every single time. Like you felt it, because these guys are professionals. They know how to hit. They're getting the best training, best conditioning, and they're coming free because they're getting paid, because the more tackles that they get, the more stats that they get, it's a better argument for their agent to get them more money. So they're coming at you with everything they got each time because they're feeding their family. This is for purpose. This is for everything. Now here's the thing. Only a small percentage, I could look it up, but I'm not going to, a small percentage of them make it to the NFL, let alone college. But think about that. Your brain is so young, from 6 to 7 years old, you start getting it, right? Then you get into intermediate and you're still going hard. Then you get into high school, it's still going hard. Think about that percentage that drops off after high school. But look at what you did to your brain the whole time. You've been smashing your head. They talking about the concussion. I think it's CTE, if I'm not mistaken. The concussion rate and the history and the studies that are being done on these pros when they leave the league, it's ridiculous on what it's doing to the brain. It is crazy. These people lose their sense of speech, their sense of walk, their ability to grab things, it's crazy what it's doing. But there is no study being done on these high school kids and what it does to their brains. There's no study being done on the intermediate kids and the little league kids on what it's doing to their brains. It's no study on the college kids who don't even make it to the NFL. That's what it's doing to their brains.
And the high school kids, right?
Yeah.
The high school coaches, man, they drive their teams hard. They drive their kids hard because their entire sense of ego, of them being able to go ahead and play out their fantasy of being like a full NFL, like full blown NFL coach, right, is right there in those high school, like in those high school, yeah. Students or alumni. So then pretty much what it makes for is like, I mean, there's some actual skin in the game where I can go ahead and make our school a very, reputable school, a very luxurious school, a very, a prominent school, a very well-known school.
Yeah.
If I win at least the city championship.
Yeah.
If I go to state, if I go to, if I somehow go to state,
it's good on their resume.
Yeah, and get that on the school's
record
title.
Yeah.
Then like I'll be known for that.
And guess what? If they don't, it's all right. You're graduating. I got a new group coming in, and they're gonna do it the same. Yeah. This is what we do here. Mm-hmm. You know that that's why you're coming to this school. You know what we expect. This is what we're doing here. And only one of you, or two, or maybe 5 of you are going to go to the next level. At least a D1. Maybe 5. Maybe. So it's a conspiracy, but it's true when you start looking at it. And if you start doing some studies on it, it's just no one's going to go to a college kid and do studies. No one's going to go to a high school kid and do studies. Like, hey, how'd your life turn out? They're not going to do that. And then the reason why I know for a fact in my heart of hearts, the reason why that they get paid so much in the NFL is to hush them up. No one knows what those contracts look like. It's for entertainment purposes only. Vegas controls the NFL. And how you know that they control it is through the refs. The one consistency, everything's variable, right? We don't know if the guy's going to drop a pass. Because you could be good at something but still drop it.
Okay.
You could throw it wrong, even though you're trying to hit him. There's a human element to it, right? But one consistency that's always consistent is the refs. Yeah. They can call a flag. That's always consistent. They control the game. That's why they're in black and white. They control it. Yeah. So if Vegas calls, that's why they got them long timeouts. Do you think when they take a 60-second timeout or a 30-second timeout, they're going to commercial? Not only they're going to commercial for their sponsors, but they talk to New York. New York's talking to Vegas. Hey, what's the spread? What's the odds? Because it's constantly changing throughout the game. Now you got all these men betting on it. Not only are these men betting on money, but they're negating their kids.
Worldwide, internationally.
Yeah, they're negating their kids. They don't want to talk to their kids. They want to talk to. No. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game. Get out of here. So not only are you taking the dad out of the home, even if he is in the home, but then you got these guys who have gone through repetition hits, so their brains are already just, God knows what they're doing. And then you got these guys who are literally pretty much paid actors, if you want to call them that, in the NFL. They don't even realize that they're paid actors. They don't realize that they're getting paid to basically go out there and put on a show. Mm-hmm. That's all it is for. And then they have it set up to where not only going to pay on the show, but we're going to take it a step further and put a show called ESPN, where they're hooked the whole next day on it. And then we're going to, like, it's all a way to get the man out of the home. This culturalism, this way of just tearing us apart since we were young, this way of this way of falsehood that we look at them like they're gods. Like, wow, look how amazing he is and how much he can do. He throws a freaking football. Yeah. He plays a pigskin game, bro. Yeah. Y'all know more about that than we do about our word. Y'all know more about stats than y'all do about what's in Genesis or Exodus, or what the New Testament is about,
or even how to give proper advice to your son.
You don't.
Yeah.
But I bet you know how to go tell him to get to practice. Hurry up.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to tell him to hurry up and get up and go to church.
Or even like tell him it's like, you don't gotta be like every other guy.
You don't. No. You don't, and that's what you're doing. And it's crazy because it's like your identity is in this. To be a man, you better play some sports. Because I did, your cousins did, you did, your brothers did. You go play. If not, you're not a man. Your identity. You want to talk about identity crisis? Your identity is in that.
I've seen that. It's that play itself out, or that where it's like a dad makes his kid cry because it's like you better go ahead and pick up that bat and learn how to play some baseball, or you're grounded,
because that's what we do.
Right.
Right.
Or is there you better learn how to play that piano, and it's like. And the kids just there crying, playing the piano.
They're not even enjoying it. Yeah. Like, and I know I got way.
I remember seeing this one video, dude, where it was like this whole like crew of family, of like brothers, who were playing the banjo, the bluegrass, the violin, the drums, it was beautiful, man. It was perfect. It was But the thing is that they had this look on their face, like you know, like they didn't like doing this at all, and they knew that if they didn't do it right, they were gonna get in a lot of trouble because it was like, look, like you're gonna make a bluegrass, how do you call it, band, and you're gonna make money.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make money, there's gonna be a problem.
And that's like, what it's all about, money.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the conspiracy exactly what you would call it or what it would be, but as far as football though,
yeah,
it is, and like I said, and that's what brought it to me because I'm not trying to begin into a racial issue, but racially speaking, if we could,
that's more relevant.
Sensitively, in a sensitive way. You got a lot of younger majority African American minorities going into football to make it, and a lot of them don't, and they grow up to become parents, and we don't know what's happening to their brain and why they're thinking the way that they do and why they're doing the things that they do. And their identity is not seen as like, hey, whether you do this football thing or not, you are a child of God, you have value, you're amazing. No, your value is in, we are poor, you better go as hard as you can and make it, because you are our only shot, and if you don't, then you're useless. It's a whole entire, like, it's a concept that's never been spoke about because no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because like, again, it's a conspiracy. I mean, you got good data, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you see some of these guys when they're showing the Hall of Famers, they're all tore up. They're walking all slow. They're hunched. They can't even like wave or move. They're just stuck there. Why? Because they went so hard. Equipment was what it is today back then. So much so that they got this helmet, and they got I forget what it's called, but it's like a extra cushion now on top of their head. They used to only use it during practice. Now they let them use it during the game. They don't care. One thing LeBron says that is kind of true, that I kind of agree with him with, but I really don't, is that he says that this is a new form of slavery. And I could kind of see it, but slaves didn't get paid millions of dollars. Okay, so that's where you're wrong. But in the sense that
you can see the sleight of hand of it being like, you know, yeah, like I'm saying something about the sports business, but at the same time I'm saying something about race to go ahead and promote a
exactly.
Right.
I mean, you think about it. You have owners. You literally have a draft, and you have a combine.
Yeah,
it's no different than slavery. Like, you look. I got a plantation, which is my team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have a draft. So come on, you young bucks. We're gonna have you work out, do a combine, show how fast you are, how quick you are. I'm gonna take all these things down, and for a cost, I will purchase you in this round. The first rounders, the best ones, I purchase you first because you mean more to my plantation and my team. It's a whole, but see, here's the thing is too, you could look at it like that, but then what's the difference between going to work for somebody at a corporation? You could try to say that you're a slave there too. We all have to work, but the thing is like, y'all are pushing nothing. Y'all don't add any value to society. Like, they don't. What does sports do for society? Nothing. The only thing sports does for society, it stops at the peewee level.
Yeah.
Because it teaches you discipline. It teaches you values. It teaches you things about like hard work and trying. I get that.
Okay.
But then it caps. Like, it has to cap.